Now let's go ahead and create the Services section. Come over here and create a section tag with the class Services. Also, give it the class section to add some space at the top and bottom. Inside the Services section, first, we will add the section title. For that, add a h2 tag with the class section title. And its text will be what I do. Then, create a custom attribute called Data Title, and here we will add the text that appears below the section title. After that, create a div tag with the class container. Inside the container, we will create a slider using Swiper.js. For that, open a browser and search for Swiper. First, we need to include Swiper in our project. Now, click on Demos to view the examples. Here, several types of sliders are available. For now, choose the default slider. Then click on Core. Here you can see that. The first step to creating a slider is to add a container element with the Swiper class. Next, we need to create a container element with the Swiper wrapper class. Inside the Swiper wrapper, we can create our slides, but each slide must have the Swiper slide class. Now let's go back to our HTML file and create a div tag with the Swiper class. Also give it the Services Swiper class. Inside the Services Swiper, create a div tag with the Swiper wrapper class. Inside the Swiper wrapper, we will create our slides. For now, let's add the first slide. Create a div tag with the Swiper slide class. Also, give it the card class. Inside that, first, add a h4 tag with the class Services subtitle. Next, add a H3 tag with the class services title. Then create a P tag with the class services description. After that, create an anchor tag with the class link. Inside the link, first add the link text, see pricing, and then add the link icon. Also, give it the class link icon. Now copy the slide and paste it 4 times. After that, add data to each slide. Now copy this JavaScript code and paste it into the main.js file. Then, change the variable name to Services Swiper and also update the class name to Services Swiper. Now, let's add the pagination. Here also set clickable to true. To enable pagination, add an element with this class name right after the Swiper wrapper div. Now go back to Swiper and search for responsive breakpoints. Copy the breakpoints option. And paste it here. When the screen size is larger than 768 pixels, we will show 2 slides per view. And when it's larger than 1208 pixels, we will show 3 slides per view. Now let's add space between the slides. Now let's move on to the CSS file. Come over here and select the section title class. First, set its font size to H1 font size. Then set text align to center. After that, set margin bottom to 0.5 rem. Now let's add the text that appears below the section title. For that, we will use the after pseudo element. First, give it a content property. And inside this function, we will add the data title attribute. Next, set display to block. Then, change its color to first color. After that, change its font family to body font. Finally, set font size to large font size. Now, let's move to the Services section. And select the card class. First, set background color to container color. Next, set padding to 2 rem for the top and bottom and 2.25 rem for the left and right. Then set border radius to 1.25 rem. After that, set position to relative. Next, target the before pseudo element of the card class. First, give it a content property. Next, set position to absolute. Then, set right to negative 1.5 rem. Set bottom to negative 1.5 rem as well. After that, set width to 120 pixels. Set height to 120 pixels as well. Finally, insert the background image. And set background size to cover. Then select the Services subtitle class. And set font size to smaller font size. After that, select the Services title class. First, set its font size to H3 font size. Then, set margin block to 4 rem for the top and 1 rem for the bottom. Finally, select the Services description class. And set minimum height to 175 pixels. Now come over here and select the link class. First, set display to inline flex. Next, set Align Items to Center. Then set Column Gap to 1.25 rem. After that, set Color to Title Color. Finally, set Font Weight to Font Bold. After that, select the Link Icon class. First, change its color to first color. Next, set font size to 1.25 rem. Then, apply a transition to the transform with a duration of 0.3 seconds. When the link is hovered, we will move the icon horizontally by -0.5 rem. Now, let's style the pagination. Select the Swiper Pagination class and set its position to initial. Then set margin top to 3 rem. Next, target the before pseudo element of the Swiper Pagination Bullets class. First, give it a content property. Next, set position to absolute. Then set top to 0.75 rem. Set left to 50%. After that, set transform to translate x -50%. Its width will be 60 pixels, and height will be 2 pixels. Finally, set background color to border color. Then, select the Swiper Pagination Bullet class. First, set its border to 2 pixels solid and use border color for its color. Next, set background color to container color. Then set opacity to 1. After that, set position to relative. Finally, set z-index to 10. After that, select the Swiper Pagination Bullet class, excluding the last child. And set margin right to 1.25 rem. This is not working due to specificity. Add important here to override it. Now select the Swiper Pagination Bullet Active class. First, set its background color to first color. Then set transform to scale 1.7. After that, set border width to 1 pixels. Now, let's add a transition for smoothness. Now, let's proceed to the Skills section. Create a section tag with the class skills. Also, give it the class section to add some space at the top and bottom. Inside the Skills section, first, we will add the section title. For that, copy the Services section title and paste it here. Now change the text of the section title. After that, create a div tag with the class skills container. Add the class container to make the width of the skills section smaller and keep it centered. Also, add the class grid to turn skills container into a grid container. Inside the skills container, create a div tag with the class skills item. Inside that, create a div tag with the class skills header. Inside the skills header, first, add a h3 tag with the class skills name. Then, create a span tag with the class skills value. Now, after the skills header, add a p tag with the class skills description. After that, create a div tag with the class skills bar. Inside that, add a span tag with the class skills percentage. Then set its width using inline CSS. Now copy the skills item and paste it 5 times, then update the data for each item. Now let's move on to the CSS file. Come over here and select the grid class. And set display to grid. Now select the skills container class. First, give it a grid template columns property. Since we need 3 columns of equal width, we will use the repeat function here. The number of columns we need is 3, and their width will be 1 fr, meaning the columns will share the available space equally. Then set row gap to 4 rem and column gap to 1.5 rem. Next, select the skills header class. First, set display to flex. Then set align items to center. After that, set justify content to space between. Then, select the skills header class and the skills description class as well. And set padding inline to 1.75 rem. After that, select the skills name class. And set font size to larger font size. Next, select the skills value class. First, change its color to title color. Then set font weight to font bold. Then select the bold tag inside the skills value. And change its color to first color. After that, select the skills description class. And set margin block to 1 rem for the top and 1.75 rem for the bottom. Now select the skills bar class and the skills percentage class as well. And set height to 2 pixels. Then select the skills bar class once again. And set background color to shadow color. After that, select the skills percentage class. First, set display to block. Then, set background color to border color. After that, set position to relative. Now, target the before pseudo element of the skills percentage class. First, give it a content property. Next, set position to absolute. Then, set right to 0. Set top to negative 0.75 rem. Its width will be 20 pixels, and height will be 20 pixels as well. After that, set border radius to 50%. Next, set background color to first color. Then, set its border to 2 pixels solid and use border color for its color. Finally, give it a box shadow. Now that we have completed the skills section, let's move on to the next section, the portfolio section. Come over here, create a section tag with the class work. Also, give it the class section to add some space at the top and bottom. Inside the work section, first, we will add the section title. For that, copy the skills section title and paste it here. Now change the text of the section title. After that, create a div tag with the class container. Inside that first, create an unordered list with the class work list. Inside the work list, add a li tag with the class work item. Now copy the work item and paste it 3 times. After that, add text to each item. After the work list, create a div tag with the class work container. Also, add the class grid to turn work container into a grid container. Inside that, create a div tag with the class mix. For now, ignore this class. I will explain later why we added it. Inside that, create a div tag with the class card. Inside the card, first add an image. Create an img tag with the class work image, and in the src attribute, insert the image path. Next, add a h4 tag with the class work category. Then add a h3 tag with the class work title. After that, create a p tag with the class work description. Now copy this link and paste it here. Now copy this div and paste it 5 times. Then add data to each card. Now let's move on to the CSS file. Come over here and select the worklist class. First, set display to flex. Next, set flex wrap to wrap. Then, set justify content to center. After that, set row gap to 1.25 rem and column gap to 2.5 rem. Finally, set margin bottom to 3.75 rem. Next, select the work item class. First, change color to title color. Next, set font size to small font size. Then, set font weight to font bold. After that, set cursor to pointer. Finally, set position to relative. Also add a transition to the color with a duration of 0.7 seconds. Then, we will add a hover effect. When the work item is hovered, we will change its color to first color. Now target the before pseudo element of the work item class. First, give it a content property. Next, set position to absolute. Then set bottom to negative 0.5 rem. And left to 0. Its width will be 60%. And height will be 2 pixels. After that, set background color to first color. Finally, add a transition to the width with a duration of 0.3 seconds. Now change the width to 0. Then set the active work color to first color. After that, set the width of the before pseudo element to 60%. Now select the Work Container class. First, give it a Grid Template Columns property. Since we need 3 columns of equal width, we will use the repeat function here. The number of columns we need is 3, and their width will be 1 fr. Then set gap to 2 rem. Next, select the Work Image class. First, set image height to 240 pixels. Next, set its width to 100%. Then set Object Fit to Cover. After that, set Border Radius to 1 rem. Finally, set Margin Bottom to 1.5 rem. Then select the Work Category class. First, change color to first color. Then set font size to smaller font size. After that, select the Work Title class. First, set font size to H3 font size. Then, set margin block to 0.75 rem for the top and 1.75 rem for the bottom. Finally, select the Work Description class and set minimum height to 125 pixels. Now let's create the filter. Search for Mix It Up. First, we need to include Mix It Up in our project. Navigate to the dist folder and download the mixitup.min.js file. I have already downloaded this file, so let's include it in our project. To create filter, first, we need to set the data filter attribute. For all, the value should be all. For other options, we need to add a class. Then, we need to add these classes to the items. We also need to add the class mix to the items we already added. Now come over here and create the data filter attribute. Now let's add these classes to the work items. Now copy this code and paste it into your JS file. Here, we need to reference the parent element of the items. In our case, work container is the parent element. In the target property, we set the selector for the items we want to filter. Now let's add the active class to the clicked element. First, create a variable named linkWork and select all elements in the document with the class work item. Next, create a function named ActiveWork. Now remove the ActiveWork class from each element, ensuring that none of them are marked as active anymore. Then, add the ActiveWork class to the clicked element. Now use the forEach method to loop through each element in the linkWork node list. And when the current element is clicked, the active work function will be executed.